Cleric. We believe you sold your soul. Warlock. That would be irresponsible and unethical. I would never, ever. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Bear Bar Tales. It is I, the one bear, who actually got the fourth option at the end of Mass Effect 3. Everyone lived happily ever after. Except the Reapers. Yes, this is Commander Bearbard, and this is my favorite show on YouTube. Today's story is a bit of a whopper that includes a straight-up incel who actually acts that way to people's face and not just an r/incel. So I guess it's a bit of a shooting star among incels. Usually they just talk like that online and milady in public, or hide in a corner. Before we get started, if you like this kind of content and you want to hear more from the Bearbard, make sure to like the video and tickle that sub button. Every sub I get, meh. Oh, weird. A Mossy, 2 weeks in a row. I double checked, no sponsors today, so what's up? Oh, you're saying I should tell them about that? It feels a bit self-serving, doesn't it? Well, I guess it's time. So I've actually just opened a Ko-Fi profile. It may also be called Ko-Fi, but Ko-Fi just sounds so much better. It's basically a more creator and supporter-friendly version of Patreon. I have 3 tiers of membership support: Mossy, Big Bear, and Bear Council. All 3 tiers come with special Discord titles. At the Bear tier, you'll actually get access to my new weekly mini episodes I'll be making that'll be more informal final thoughts on the stories from that week. Many times while editing, I have more thoughts/rants, so this will be where I put those. At the Bear Council tier, you'll actually unlock a special Discord channel where you'll be able to help decide what happens on the channel. You'll be able to help choose out stories and other things that make it into the videos or podcasts. You'll also get sneak peeks at upcoming videos and other ideas. Now, this is just my initial concept. As this is the first time I've done anything like this, I'm very fluid with these concepts and totally open to ideas for rewards and tiers. So make sure to let me know either in the comments or in the Discord. I'll also be opening up commissions for voice work and lines that you want me to read. That's not quite set up yet, but it's getting there. One of the things I liked about Ko-Fi is they actually have the option for just single donations as well. So if you're not really wanting to go for a membership thing, this is a way to help support as well. Every cent I get for this goes back towards the channel. Y'all look. I feel so blessed to be in the position that I'm in, where I've actually had people asking me for something like this. So thank you all so much for the support. I genuinely cannot tell you what it means to me. I started this channel just to work on my voice diction, and while I'm still very small, the fact that anyone out there even enjoys these videos means the world to me. But enough about me. Y'all came here to hear some degeneracy. What do you mean your favorite part of that speech was me ending it? You brought it up. Meh. Ugh, whatever. I don't need this from you. For now, I'm just gonna read this story, titled, "Was invited to a game with a creepy, sexist DM who ignored every other player to harass me for an entire session." This one's a doozy. I started frequenting my LGS around spring 2021, just as COVID mandates were letting up in my state. It had apparently sprouted in my local mall sometime right before or after COVID. Couldn't notice because, well, I was inside. This place mostly hosted Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh games, both of which I know shit about. But there were a few people that worked here that I would talk to for an hour or so after I finished browsing, so I spent a decent amount of my time after work there. One of these times, sometime in May, I hear 2 guys loitering, discussing potentially starting up a D&D campaign over the summer, hosted in the store. I apologized for eavesdropping but asked if I could get in on it, and they seemed cool, as they didn't mind and happily invited me into the conversation and introduced themselves. Now the cast, all fake names of course, except mine, present in this conversation. Myself, Maya. Player 1, Andrew. Player 2, a cool guy, Ethan. Introduced later. Player 3, Dawn. Then the creepy DM, Joe. It had been a good amount of time since I'd actually played D&D in person, as, well, my high school shut down in 2020 during my senior year, and I hadn't meaningfully been outside since. Go figure. So I was really excited to play with an IRL group again. We discussed the general information for their hopes for meeting, times and dates and such, and the DM that Andrew intended to have run the campaign. This whole conversation lasted all of 10 minutes before we went and talked to an employee, who fetched the manager who promised to talk to the owner but said the time slot we wanted, Wednesday evenings, would probably go over fine with him. Weird aside here, I've always been super jealous of people who can just go up to strangers and make friends. Like, from stranger to planning a campaign in 15 minutes, I feel bad asking my friends to join me in a campaign. Last time I asked Drake to play in a game with me, I accidentally surprised him, so he just lit the body pillow he was holding at the time and threw it at me. Oh, Drakey Poo, you wanna play?
Hey, get the fuck out of here!
We have a session 0 at Andrew's place a few days before our first session to the store, and everything goes swimmingly. I'm introduced to Don, who's about 15 to 20 years older than us, but he was a really nice guy who fit the group fine. We take about 2.5 hours creating the character sheets and then fleshing out the characters. Backstories, flaws, ideals, bonds, you know the drill. And we wanted to do this together. As Andrew said in the games he had played previously with this DM, he encouraged backstory overlap between PCs and NPCs. Not that it matters, but I was playing a tiefling bard, Andrew was playing a human barbarian, Ethan was an elf cleric, and Dawn was a tabaxi warlock. The session had been going on for about 3 hours at this point. Most of us were getting tired or have homework, as all of us but Dawn were college students. So we ended it there. I get home and my roommate is still awake, and I am giving absolute raving reviews on the session. She is very entertained specifically by the dynamic between mine and Ethan's character, which I rambled excessively about. My character was named Leofric, and he had previously known Ethan's character Ganymede? I don't know. And they complimented each other ironically. I was to be a rather meek and nervous bard, while he was an obnoxious, flamboyant cleric. This information is actually relevant for context. Anyway, Wednesday comes, and the way it worked out is that Ethan is the one who would come pick me up, as I lived not 5 minutes out of the way to his route to the LGS. We arrive, and the only other person there is the DM, Joe. Mind you, the only person who has met Joe before is Andrew. He's only shown us pictures of them together, as they've apparently been friends for years, so Ethan and I introduce ourselves to him. Joe acts, and the only way I can describe this is, like he's never met a woman before. Before even acknowledging my existence, he incredulously asks Ethan if he has brought this chick. I am, and I think understandably, mortified and pissed. Not only that, but I had a girlfriend at the time. Didn't think that was necessary to mention though, and I definitely did not want to now. Before I can think of anything to say, Ethan tells him that I'm just his friend. And Joe then asks if that means I'm, and I shit you not, free game. He still has yet to address me directly. I have never once met a person who actually acted like this, and in turn, I have no fucking idea how to respond. I no doubt look viscerally uncomfortable at this point, but I'm too shocked and embarrassed to verbally express how fucking angry I am. Ethan loudly introduces me again to Joe, saying something to the tune of, "This is Maya, and she is right the fuck there if you want to ask her anything." Joe shrugs it off, gives me a hi, and then pretends I don't exist for the next 10 minutes. The other guys arrive, and Andrew introduces Dawn to Joe, who has now seemingly gained the ability to meet someone and actually act like a normal human being. Against my better judgment, thinking Ethan could hold things down, I stay for the session. I unfortunately am the type of person to order a 12-ounce rare steak, receive a well-done 6-ounce, then thank the waiter and tip 25%. I was also pretty desperate to actually play in an in-person game at this point, as it had been more than a year. So, as I decided it was worth it to just put up with it. Not my best decision ever. I wish Ethan would have offered to take me home, but bygones. We start the session, and the theme Joe established earlier clearly holds up as we get into character. Despite the fact that my character was male, Joe immediately has his male bartender NPC hit on him, complimenting his great figure. Ethan asks the NPC directly, in character, if he can tell if our friend at the table here is a man, and Joe's NPC says something or other about how he had a thing for pretty boys. Yes, that's the strap, boys. Just pretend to be gay. That will have all the lesbians tripping over themselves to get to you. Obviously guaranteed to work. Joe keeps this up the entire session. Anytime an NPC needs to interact with our group, the only person addressed is myself. There's a whole cast of creeps out there for us to interact with. The creepy gnome shopkeep who gives discounts to the gorgeous little bard. The creepy human patriarch of the house who is more interested in fucking a female tiefling than his mission he's sending us on to save his daughters. The creepy resident town wizard who, despite being described as a human in his 70s, says he would have the stamina to keep up with a vivacious young man. The goblins we fight who never attempt to attack me on their turn, and then openly state they'll kill the men, but the tiefling is coming with them, and more. While I tend to be a rather non-confrontational person outside of LARPing, and my bard was planned to be a shy little guy, having an outlet which I can express myself indirectly most definitely emboldens me to say exactly what I really think. Give a man a mask. So, it's very easy for me to make it more than clear every single time that my character is completely uninterested in every single advance made on him. And yet Joe still refuses to take the hint, and apparently thinks I'm just into him and playing hard to get or something. I tell the bartender that it sucks that I'm not into big, dumb bastards of half-orcs who hit on their patrons. I tell the shopkeep directly to fuck off and keep his eyes on himself, lest he loses our whole party's business. I tell the head of the house that he should make it clear that he is faithful to his wife and family, or we'll reconsider helping him and find his daughters entirely. Because if he doesn't care, why should we? I call the wizard an old fart and tell him that he has a shriveled up old man cock, which gets a laugh out of Ethan, but gets Joe all huffy and red in the face, which I think prompted him to have our first battle end in my kidnapping. I can tell that Andrew, Ethan, and Dawn are all getting fed up with Joe paying my character exclusive attention. But Dawn seems to have thought that it was my fault that my character was getting smothered by the NPCs. Despite my character openly reacting negatively, he starts taking it out on me by shunning my character from conversations, refusing to address me and ignoring my existence when I try to weigh in on decisions about what the party should do next. Real mature for a man who has 2 decades on everyone in the room. Ethan, and to a lesser extent Andrew, try to rope me in, but Dawn shuts them down every time by talking over them or turning down their propositions. Now, Joe is getting pissy with Dawn on top of trying to harass me, and his NPCs begin insulting Dawn's characters, while they call me beautiful and gorgeous and fertile, among other things. Bro, what kind of existence do you live in where you think this is anywhere near okay? First, Dawn out here getting pissy at the wrong person, then taking it out in-game like a freaking child, then more knight in milady armor. Like, have you ever heard in your entire life someone describe a woman as freaking fertile and it ended well? Now take that and you say it in-game to another male character controlled by a woman? Like, I get you don't understand those damn females, but seriously? Use your damn head for a second. Once the goblins threatened to kidnap my character, however, I lost it. We only get about an hour into the session before I push myself back from the table, stand up, and get into the DM's face. I'm raging and have lost every fuck to give. I sternly, but calmly, tell him that he's ruining the game for all his players by trying to fuck my male character, and that he can keep his creepy, misogynistic, self-insert NPCs and shove them so far up his ass they might just find it to his head. I tell Ethan I'm going to wait on a bench outside, pack up my dice, pencil, and sheet, and leave. Ethan follows me out a few minutes later and tells me on our way home that he had wanted to stay to finish out the session. But as soon as I left, Joe started complaining about how feminazis are crazy bitches who can't take a joke and think everything is rape. And he and Dawn seem to have found some common ground over that one. I still can't believe people like that actually exist outside the fringe corners of incel forums. Jesus Christ. Ethan and I keep up on Discord, but rarely talk. I haven't seen or spoken to any of them except Ethan since that day. I now specifically avoid that LGS, which I'm a little pissed about, but there's another one on the southeast side of town that I now frequent instead. TLDR, I was excited to play in my first in-person D&D game since COVID, but when I arrived at the session, the DM asked the only character I was friendly with if I was his chick or free game. I was pissed but stayed anyway because said player stood up for me and I really wanted to play. The DM then spent the entire session harassing my character through NPCs trying to hit on him. Everyone was fed up with this, but one player started to take it out on me. The DM got pissed at the player and began bitching at that player's character through his NPCs while flirting with mine. The game ended when I told off the DM and got out of there after the enemies we were battling said they were going to kidnap my character. I learned that after I left, he called me a crazy bitch feminazi who couldn't take a joke and thought everything was and apparently bonded with the player that was mad at me over that. I now avoid the LGS I used to frequent in hopes I never have to see them again. So I know I'm going to hate all the cussing I already have to censor out, but fuck this guy. I mean, I like to believe there's good in everyone, but I have trouble seeing anything redeemable here. Like, anyone who treats another human being like this, regardless of who they are, is human trash. I mean, this guy just feels like r/incel's mascot. He probably went online after this and posted something like, "I effing hate females. I don't know why they always go for bad boys and not nice guys like me. Hashtag over females." Look, I don't even know. I'm by no means a Don Juan. I ended up marrying my first girlfriend and we were coworkers. I don't know what the dating game is like, but I have to believe that basic human decency should at least be the starting point. Greet the person, acknowledge their existence, talk to them like a person. Then you could advance to the whole flirting thing. And this isn't even looking at a, sort of important thing. You got the wrong plumbing for her, bro. She's not even about that life, and no amount of weird, creepy dude flirting in character will ever be enough to get her to jump in your bed. Now, to be fair on that last point, it doesn't look like she told him that, but go back to the previous point, had he shown some normal human decency, she probably would have politely pointed that out. It would have been something that she could laugh about later with her girl instead of this horror story. Then to be dealing with all that and have to deal with some grown man-child in Don, who then also takes his frustrations out on her because he's too dumb to see a situation for what it is. And even if it was happening how he thought it was, that's a terrible way of handling the situation. Grow up and talk about it. I'll never understand these tables that take out their frustrations on each other by being petty as hell in game. Step away from the table, talk it out, then come back to it. For a species that is so advanced in communication technology, we cannot seem to figure out the concept of communication between each other. I'm glad at least Ethan was there to have her back, but even then, he saw all this and planned on finishing out the game until they kept going with the insults. Y'all, as human beings, we gotta be better than this. Remember, we're all stuck on this planet at the same time together. We're not gonna get another go, so just be kind. But I know y'all didn't come here to be lectured by some cartoon bear on the internet, so let's get a bit more wholesome with bear facts. The cinnamon bear is a subspecies of black bear, the smallest type of North American bear. As its name implies, the cinnamon bear has rusty brown fur. This subspecies is found in Wyoming, western Montana, Idaho, eastern Colorado, and parts of Canada. They are primarily nocturnal, but may come out during the day if the need arises. What's cool about this subspecies is that the coloration can mix so much even within a single family. You can find black and all different shades of brown with one set of parents. We also have this week's submission to the Bear Bard's Cave of Art and Wonders. This week's art was submitted by Discord user Gibbo, and it's a reference to the episode Co and I did together when we uttered the infamous words, "Bleed me, mommy." The episode was a ton of fun, and I can't even describe how much I love this piece. I actually have it as my background. Thank you, Gibbo, for the art. It's truly humbling that these videos can inspire amazing work like this. I'm sorry to get so ranty with you guys today. Sometimes I get up on my soapbox and just can't stop. So I'll go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank all you guys for sticking through to the end. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like the video and give the channel a sub if you haven't already. Yeah, I didn't forget to bring it up. Like he said, if you're interested in supporting me further, make sure to check out my Ko-Fi page. But seriously, only if you have the means to do so. Don't put yourself in a bad spot on my behalf. If you want to hear more from the Bear Bard, you can find me on Discord, Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. You can also check out the Bear Bard Tales podcast if that's your sort of thing. If I can ever find the time to finish editing the next episode, then you'll hopefully have a new, really fun thing to listen to. For now, though, this has been the Bear Bard. Stay kind, stay beautiful, and keep on living that bard life.